Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What is up, everyone? And can I just say, I am super, super proud of Joe for having some people in the final eight.
No,
I
you
know it
can't
was
do
looking,
that. You
it
can't
was
say
looking,
that. Fucking making it, having anyone making it this far is not to be proud of because they are the two least likely people to win the game. They aren't winning. There's a 0%, 0.0000000 100 million times 0% chance they win this game.
well, I don't think it's that harsh. It's
It is.
very, very
They're the two
unlikely.
that, yeah.
However,
Mary got another
I
zero confessional episode, so she's not winning. That's two zero confessional
yeah,
episodes. Star is just in her own world over there, just having thinking, not sure what the fuck is happening. Also a zero confessional episode. So and
Joe has a
those
zero confession vote or zero confessional
and guess what?
episode.
He was the main character of that episode, regardless of confessional counts. Barry and Star were not main characters of those episodes. They were, just fuck off.
It's funny. I did watch back for the episode where we're at this point last season. And granted, it was mostly Shannon and I, talking about our org trauma in our season. I was like, you should have worked with me more. And she's like, Uh, but I could tell that you were pretty annoyed with the results of it. But this time, you are more annoying.
I mean,
Even
listen,
though you have two people, you are so ungrateful,
well,
Joe.
I don't care about how people in there. I want a winner contender. I want someone who I could actually like be like, hey, there's an off chance maybe that this person can win the game. That doesn't exist. David was my person who had this off chance of maybe he was winning, and he is not there anymore. So now it's just like fuck, who cares?
No, don't be mean.
It's true.
He bitter.
I'm not
By the
bitter.
way, y'all,
I'm speaking facts. That's not being bitter.
your tone is bitter.
I'm not. I'm just speaking the truth. If the truth seems bitter, then the truth is bitter in your mind. But it's just the truth.
All right. To kind of have a segue before we go into this, because I feel like it's just going to be an hour of Joe being angry. Um, Look at my buff that we won in solitary, the one org I did. It is a very deep blue. It has cats on there because it asked what animal I would be reincarnated in, and I said cat. So it's a nice little calico. And it says champion solitary 1.0. So yes, I'm very happy with it. I'm doing the Boston Rob way where it's like just draped over my shoulder
Uh-huh.
because I want to show it in its entirety. And like sometimes when you get the buffs, it just kind of
It
like
scrunches, and then it's just kind of
yeah,
like a color.
yeah. But just wanted to share that with y'all since you've been on this journey with us as well. Um, yeah. So
Okay,
anyway,
can we get back to me complaining?
well, yes. It is interesting because we're going to talk about Dave for a little bit. It is interesting because he was getting his edit was very, very promising in the beginning,
Mhm.
and then it did feel like a little more since like last episode. A bit before then, I started to see like a downward trajectory, but it was like more so like against a strong group, or like he's not fully in charge when it comes to this stage of the game. um but like earlier on he was getting like a lot of great coverage, a lot of like hero coverage as well, especially about the story with his girlfriend and everything. I don't know if you saw the article about it or like his exit interview,
I saw the excerpt about his girlfriend leaving because he didn't win Survivor.
which sounds like a Darman video right there.
Yeah.
Girl dumps Survivor contestant because he didn't win. What happens next will shock you.
Yeah.
Uh, it is funny that, like I was reading the audio, he is dating someone right now, which, the thing is, it's like, yeah, it sucks because you have all that emotional connection with that person, but at the same time, you know, I know he's in a rough spot and like I understand adult dating and stuff like that. You need to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
But like, there's still like love and stuff that has to be there. I'm glad like, he's with someone right now.
Yeah.
Um, so it wasn't a total loss.
Yeah, and also if someone dumps you because you didn't win the game of Survivor, then you probably shouldn't be with that person because they probably just wanted that $1 million check also in their bank accounts.
They were dating before he joined Survivor. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he
but that
talked about it for
it's
a while.
no, no, I know, but I'm saying that that was like the fact that she dumped him because that wasn't happening, and like maybe she would have stuck with him if he won. That clearly means that she was just wanting the $1 million.
The thing is, too, is that you do realize he's going to get more famous because of this show.
Yeah,
He will make more money and maybe get his own
yeah.
place. This isn't like,
He's very
oh, he did.
likely to be on another reality show.
If not season 50, I can see them recruiting him
Yeah,
for, the challenge. I can see him
yeah,
recruit for a bunch of different stuff.
yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
not this is not the end for David. And like, that the thing is like ripple effects. I know like reality comp stars and Hollywood don't necessarily they sometimes keep you in that little bubble. Um, but since it's mostly stunt work and stuff like that, you never know what avenues and stuff that will open up for David. So like he's gonna be doing a lot better now than he
Mhm.
was earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And I really do think he's going to be on the challenge one day. Like he just kind of seems like he has the like that would be a better show for him than Survivor. Um,
Yeah.
like I think we clearly saw like he's great physically, but when it comes to like strategic gameplay and like actual like working things socially, David just was not there. He really was lacking in a lot of ways. And like he was able to tell Kyle and Camilla were like close, but he just handles it in the worst way possible. Like
Yeah.
this was a Fall of David episode. This was how does David lose the game all in 90 minutes? That's what we got here.
Yeah, it was a thing where, I would say last episode definitely set the groundwork for this episode,
Yeah.
where the thing is, it was like it just kind of doubled down what we were seeing with, David not fully trusting Kyle and Shaheen anymore because of the whole Camilla thing, and then also doubling down when it comes to, yeah, Mary is like my ride or die now, and then it's like it just kind of he kind of really fumbled this episode. He started to get panicky, which is something that you never want to do because like,
Mhm.
sometimes it's like it's not even that, oh, you want to make a move because like he wasn't saying that he wanted to make a move against Kyle or Shaheen directly. He was just more so like, I don't know how, moving forward, if I can trust you, which you don't want to convey to
Yeah.
your person, to anyone in your alliance. But at the same time, it's like he wanted to play a very straightforward game.
Mhm.
And I think they kind of touched on it on Tribal Council. It really depends on the season and who
Yeah.
you are with. And because, like, depending on who you're paired with in a season, like if he was like on a season with like, where there was no Joe, there was no strong group, like we could have like a Jonathan Young situation, or like, they did mention a lot about this and you have to play accordingly. But like, the rest of the people, it's like he was very much there is a give and take when it comes to any alliance. And it feels like while he was flexible, it did feel like he felt like his voice wasn't being heard as much, and then he just kind of had to go with the flow to keep things together. Even though he was very vocal about, no, we need to target this person.
Yeah. I so before the episode came out, they released the like previews and like scenes or something like to like hype you up. They released the scene where David says that Joe went back on his word. They did that before the episode came out. And immediately when I saw that, I was like, David's going home. He just that's the
David,
biggest fuck up you could have done in the game.
yeah, it's like don't because he didn't go back on his word. It's like, hey, we're going this way. It's like I feel like the point of strategizing and then going back on your word. Now if like David was completely kept in the dark about, the vote being Chrissy, then yeah, he would have went out back on his word. But because the
Mhm.
alliance and everything was moving towards Chrissy, he didn't. He just changed the alliance changed their mind,
Mhm.
and he decided to go with it because it was
Yeah.
best for his game, and it was conveyed to David. So especially you don't say that to a man who is very much about honor, because
Yeah.
like he's insulted and you're already kind of you're making things worse for you, and it did, unfortunately, for David.
Yeah, and it's great because we get a contrasting scene also a little bit later in the episode with Kyle going to Joe, and Kyle handles approaching Joe very differently.
Yeah,
He knows how to talk to Joe, and that's through heart, not through intimidation or like here's what we gotta do gameplay wise. And he like kind of sets that tone before actually kind of really launching into going for David. And
yeah,
it's very clear. I don't know. This whole episode felt like they told us from the jump David's going home, and then the next scene would be David's going home, and the next scene would be David's going home. And it was just like nothing positive for David's side of maybe staying was here. It was just like wrong, 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 wrong.
yeah. There wasn't, yeah, he wasn't getting the best. Yeah, it wasn't. It was kind of sad, especially because, like, in the beginning, he seemed like he was going.
Yeah.
It's the difference of like where he started and where he ended. And that was just, I don't know if like obviously he was being paranoid and stuff, and that is true, but I know edit plays a big factor into that as well, of like
Mhm.
showing David's worst moments. Uh yeah. Um yeah, I think when we were talking about, you know, this was definitely a thing where I think a lot of things helped solidify this group of five, because like with Camilla, with Kyle, like because we have the new Loggy, or was it Loggy? The new like green tribe.
Yeah, Vula.
Vula. All right, the new Vula tribe, and then obviously Eva is going to be in the mix as well. Where this seemed like they were like, this four is like, all right, this four is going to work together, and they ended up doing that. I am a little surprised that we haven't truly seen a full-on Shaheen, Kyle, and Camilla like trio like form,
Mhm.
because we see them working together,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm surprised that hasn't like solidified yet.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
we'll see it closer.
the fact that we've been
Um,
told about it, but we haven't seen a scene means that, in my opinion, one of them is not long for this game. So the story of that must not be super important.
that's
Um,
fair.
so I do wonder if one of them gets sniped in the next like two episodes or something like that. Kind of unexpectedly. Uh, I think it needs it. I think I now I don't know. I've been watching. I always say I watch with a lot of these casual fans, and they are become very bored of the season. The season has like gotten very boring to them, and it started when Say went home, and like they hated Say. They were like they cheered when Say went home, but now they're like, wait a second, this season's not that entertaining now.
Y- We love. It's also like
Yeah,
some people like someone to root against, and
yeah,
Say was like a common person. Like
yeah.
the thing is, Say was the main character for most of this season up until her elimination, and so when she was gone, it does leave a bit of a hole. Especially because I feel like the main story now is pretty much the strong group. And it's like, does the strong group stick together or does it turn on each other? And for like, like two episodes in a row, it's like, oh yeah, the strong group is sticking together. And
Mhm.
now it's like, okay, it turned on itself. I feel like I don't think last episode was boring. There was a lot of great stuff in it. I will say it was straightforward.
Yeah.
I will say that. I don't think it was a boring episode because I feel like there was a lot of great moments in there that had me like really invested.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it's definitely been average to sub-average this last episode and this one. It feels like the pre-merge I really loved. I think this was the best pre-merge of the new era thus far. Um, but like looking at merge onwards after now, just these couple episodes, it does feel a little more kind of like by the books and like standards episodes of Survivor. Like nothing's truly like making me go like, oh yes, this is what I love about Survivor. Like I haven't been like that for pretty much either of these episodes so far. And like obviously it can change. Like I'm not saying that it's like stuck into like, oh, this has to be bad now. Um, but I'm really hoping that something happens now because David was also now supposed to be built up. He started getting a villain arc and now he's gone. So now another person who could have been the villain is now also gone. And now I'm just like, oh, this is Joe. This is Joe's game. Joe has won this season, and
Yeah,
we're going through the victory march way earlier this season, in my opinion, than any of these other seasons in the new era.
it is a little interesting. Because I feel like conflict could have really ensued this episode because
Mhm.
when we relatively early in the episode, we see Eva leave to get her, advantage, and she was caught by Shaheen.
Yeah,
And this was like huge. Like this was something where, it was like, okay, Shaheen is entrusting Eva. This
yeah,
could, like it definitely felt like we were being led that the strong group is going to turn on itself this episode, whether it was David or some new developments come here. And like to talk about it a little bit, we do see Eva go and she gets an extra vote, but she can wager it to get a safety without power, which is better for
Mhm.
her in the long run because it's like, all right, now you have two modes of immunity. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. You always take that first gamble there.
Yeah,
There's literally zero reason to. It's because you're not losing your vote. You're just losing something that was just kind of given to you. And an
yeah.
extra vote, while there are situations it can be useful, but those situations are like 2% of the time in a game that you end up playing. It's a very small percentage. Whereas a safety without
Mhm.
power, because it has that guaranteed like get yourself out of that situation, it's immensely more powerful. She can use that 7, play her idol at 6, and be at 5 guaranteed if she wanted.
Yes. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think you definitely go for it. And yeah, like I feel unless you were the greediest mofo out there, you don't do the 1 out of 3 shot to get an idol.
No.
I feel she played it perfectly. And then I do like how, the morning after, because Shaheen, like I said,
Mhm.
if she didn't tell Shaheen and stuff like this, thing is, unbeknownst to her,
Mhm.
that Shaheen caught her sneaking off that she came back and she was very straightforward with her alliance members that she really really trusts being Shaheen, Kyle and Joe.
Mhm.
And then like I think until now she wouldn't have realized like how much that really mattered in the sense of like that could have caused a whole other ripple effect and have this thing like even more splintered.
Yeah. Well, and we also they made sure to include that Shaheen told Joe that he saw
Yes.
that she saw Eva going off. And I do wonder if we didn't see the scene where maybe Joe told Eva that Shaheen saw her going off. Because like if that's the case, then you absolutely are going to make sure that you reveal it to your alliance because it's already like you do that you reveal it to your alliance or you get busted and gets ratted out basically.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if there is something like that. We'll have to wait till after the season probably to know for sure.
I will
Um,
say the fact that just the way because there was a confessional from Joe that said it was like, oh, she gathered at us all in the morning and then said it. Because like I wasn't worried when she didn't. I'm thinking maybe they had a talk afterwards about it, but I think I wouldn't take it away from Eva right now in the
Mhm.
sense of like, okay, maybe this did happen, but based on the edit and how Joe was giving his confessional, it made me think like that was the moment she decided to tell everyone.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely have to see on that. But yeah, Eva, if she survives this next round, she's basically guaranteed final five if she wants, like
Final six.
yeah, well, it's safety without power gets to six now, and then she could use the idol at six to make it a five if she feels like in danger at all. Um,
Yeah, but I mean like they're at final eight right now.
yeah,
But like
but I'm
obviously,
saying if she survives this round, she uses the safety without power at seven,
yeah,
and then she gets to six, and then she used the
she's in
idol.
finale.
Yeah, guaranteed final five. That's what I was saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Um, which is good. The thing is, it's like it still baffles me. I don't know, like the whole prospect of like because duos have been pointed out. However, it's yet again, it's the Eva and Joe duo that is so public that still doesn't get called out for.
yeah,
And it keeps going. I think because everyone wants to work with Joe. Kyle wants
yeah.
to work with Joe. Eva obviously wants to work with Joe. Shaheen has a strong connection with Joe. Joe is just like the centerpiece of everyone and seems very, very important
Hmm.
because if you don't sit right with Joe, Eva's even like, hey, like, how are you? Like Joe is, asking Eva, and it's like Joe's like influence, and it's like, well, you know, I I do like David a lot and I really want to work with David and Mary, but he doesn't want to work with the people that are really important to me. Like, Joe is just like the center point of this.
Yeah,
So he's like well positioned. Does that mean that they're going to turn on him? It doesn't look like it right now, but
yeah.
it's like crazy to think that you're this far into the game and apart from Chrissy, which she didn't even end up going that route anyway.
Yeah.
Joe has been pretty untouchable.
Yeah. And I feel like he's gonna also beast out at the end. I think that they're gonna let him get it to a point and he's just gonna then win all the challenges. Like
He could.
like I can see Kyle getting sniped in one of these next two episodes, and then suddenly it just is like, okay, now let's do the obstacle course challenge, and then Joe's just gonna be like leaps and bounds ahead of everyone at that point. It's gonna be like him and Eva, and Joe's. I'd still bet on Joe to win an obstacle course situation than Eva.
I don't know. I feel they're pretty evenly matched. In an obstacle. It depends on what kind of stuff is there. I feel like Eva's young and like has, like young in the energy, and I feel like Joe obviously has the strength and experience as well. So I feel like I would say it balances out. Maybe it's like depending on how well they did in that challenge that day and whoever made the less mistakes. And we need to talk about this challenge
Uh-huh.
because this was a tough one. It is slightly forgiving, but
Mhm.
good gosh. Like, when I first saw this, like, oh, if you step off the platform, you're out. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's a big platform. Who's going to fall? And then the final two people or like got eliminated because they stepped off a platform. I'm like, oh, well, I
Yeah.
guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I will say I definitely was like, okay, this feels like a David or Joe competition. Like just
Yeah.
because it's essentially a gym exercise that you could do in a gym, just like hold in like a weight essentially up here
Yeah.
just to kind of keep it up. Um, so it went essentially about how I went, what I thought. And but Joe does end up having his ball go closer to the edge, in the challenge, which then makes you go, oh, David's got this.
Yeah. The fact like when that was happening, and this is one of the exciting moments of it too. It's like even if you feel like, okay, they're definitely playing up the fact that Joe is struggling right now, maybe David might do it. But like, I swear, every time that ball moved closer and closer to the edge, I'm like, there's no way. Like, if he has one more slip, he's cooked because
Yeah.
one of the tough things about this challenge even if you recover, it's going to be much harder because now, because the bar, you would need more force to push it up, which means you're exerting more energy. So like
Yeah.
it's a little this is a tough challenge, and it's like there is very little room for error, and if it is very, very costly,
Mhm.
even if you survive.
Yeah.
um and yeah, I think and we had this epic showdown between David and Joe, which I really liked. David gave something that, because because I think I told you about a challenge I did and how it was endurance and I didn't do well. And when he was like, in my heart, I know I could have went further and did that, but I made one mistake and that was enough.
Hmm.
I had like a similar experience, and like I know that crush because like, oh man, I really felt for him in that moment.
Yeah, it was weird for me because like analyzing the edit as I'm watching, and I'm like, they only set up David to be the one to go home in this episode up to this point, and so then it's just like, okay, well he's in the lead here, so either he's going to have a freak fall here, or they're now going to have to suddenly scramble in the last end to like create a new person going home. And so I was definitely kind of like, what is well, like David's gotta he has to fumble somehow, right? Like they're not going to just like decide to have this all be about David going home and then like even in episodes where that ends up happening where the person that they're like targeting wins immunity, they still set up another person to be the one
Yeah.
to like be the like, oh, if this person wins immunity then we're going to target this person, or like there's something like that that happens early on. We didn't really get any of that. It really was like any time like David was trying to say Camilla, it was instantly shot down by everyone. Like it just
Yeah.
was, it got no traction, and so there no one was biting that and taking that seriously, which lets you know it's not going to be Camilla.
Yeah, that whole because they had a moment where it was the six of them, and they're on the, I will call it the strong group log, because they've done like a few, like that's like their meeting point. And then everyone is like nervous to say a name except for well, I mean, like David was like, okay, I'm gonna back off a little bit, but Mary was like saying Camilla for this, and then like David's like, yeah, Camilla. Um
Yeah.
but it was like, it was very like, I don't know, like as long as it's one of them, I don't know, as long as it's one of them, I don't care. It was a very like awkward, like like point where it's like it didn't feel as open, especially even the time beforehand. Granted,
Yeah.
they were going to tribal, but still.
Yeah. So so yeah, I kind of figured watching like, okay, David's gotta fuck this up when he did it, and it was just a small little slip, that ends up happening. You keep your eye off the ball for, a second, and bam, you can lose.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Joe ends up winning, and first individual immunity. I think it's very possible that he also can just like win out from here. Like he is that kind of player that it can just start winning challenges just like bam, become like
Yeah.
a Mike Holloway kind of situation. Let him get this far and bam, he can do it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's like you do have contenders. I feel like if you were to look at the bunch and be like, yeah, you can probably do it, especially because one of the biggest disadvantages for like one where you have to support fully your own weight,
Mhm.
like that challenge, and they usually do one of those per season, has already passed. So
Yep.
like it is more likely there might be something in his wheelhouse, or at very least he doesn't have to worry about any challenges where that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's definitely possible. I do find it interesting that the five people that were left up there were from the original Strong group. So I do wonder, is there really, I know like part of the reason when they've talked about getting rid of Mitch is like, oh, he's really good at these challenges and stuff like that. It's like, is he though? Because like his competition is so like tough, and it feels like someone from that group, it's always, or from the Strong group, whoever's left from it, is going to win that one moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. When they mentioned that Mitch is like this physical threat, I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because it's like I get he's a PE coach, but like, you do you see the people that started the season?
Yeah.
Like, he's not the person that you lump into that group still.
Yeah, David is like, yeah, he's going to be really good at this challenges. His shirt's off,
Yeah,
his pecs and muscles glistening in the sun. Then you see Mitch, very, very slender compared to him.
who's not going
So
on
it's
food
like
rewards? Like, this was his
he's
first food.
not, which was nice. I
Yeah,
was glad that he finally got some food. It's like you should
yeah,
always take because like the easiest thing because the this can always be a revealing thing. Always go for the people who haven't been on reward or the last person or the person that hasn't been on reward since like the
mm,
longest.
yeah,
Go for those people because it's very simple, it's super fair. And
yeah.
so like for Mitch it was give I remember a couple weeks ago rewatching funniest things from 46. Or I wouldn't say funniest, but like it was definitely unhinged and like I don't know how they did this or why they did this, but like, the times that when Q and Mary, or not Mary, Maria excluded Liz from the reward, it was even worse when Maria did it. It was just like
Yeah.
she had this whole, scene and everything, and she was like devastated.
Yeah.
And it's like
What made
she
that
hasn't
worse
eaten,
was that Q made Maria and Liz play rock paper scissors for it.
which,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like what Q did was bad but you did it worse because you knew what Q did. You were there and everything, and you also
Yeah. Yeah.
Q was even like like joking on. Was like, I already ate. I'm gonna eat again.
Yeah. Well, that was a very petty cast. That cast was
Yeah,
uh but yeah, no, I also feel like they do have people mention this on many seasons about not going on rewards, and a lot sometimes we don't see those. Even they made sure to include that one to make sure that we really got to make sure that we knew Mitch wasn't going on these rewards, so that way when Joe picked him, even more of a hero. Let's go, Joe. Like
yeah,
they are like really just going all in on Joe's the greatest human being we've ever had on the show.
yeah. Um, I will say it is funny because he still picks Eva at the end of like
Yeah.
for the like final person to choose,
Yeah.
which I'm like, like right now it's not blown up in their face yet, and I feel like
Mhm.
especially with Eva's different advantages and Joe's prowess and like being the center point. It's like I really am struggling to see them going after these two. Even though next
Yeah.
episode hints them going after the strong group
Yeah.
or like the other four that weren't in the strong group, I can see them, wanting to target a Shaheen or wanting
Yeah.
to target Kyle.
Yeah. I can also I can I don't have the footage, but I can guarantee you someone said, wow, look at Joe picking Eva on the rewards. And they made sure not to include that. Yet again,
No.
they are not including anything that might be negative towards Joe's edits, because that would be bad because their winner has to look amazing because wow, Joe's awesome.
I know even if it's obvious, I'm still here there. I'm still here for the journey because I think like a lot of people might complain about this season in hindsight if Joe is the winner, how obvious it
From
was.
episode
But
one.
I'm like, sometimes you got to be in it for the ride and see how it ends because I don't know, like because I've been seeing little things like that online, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. It's always nice when it's like a surprise or it feels like, oh, this person could be in jeopardy of going home. But like I'm still here for the ride. There's a lot of me that's really invested to see how things unfold. I know you suggested or you begged to differ earlier when we were messaging each other.
Yeah. It's I mean it's wrapped. The season's basically over. Let's just give Joe the $1 million right now. Like there's no need to continue the season.
Joe is like, all right, just bring us 49. Like,
Yeah.
where,
Hurry
where's
up
that?
again.
Where's that cast leak? I really need to take my mind off of this right now.
Yeah, I need something. I'm just looking forward to 50. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad for 49. It's another case like 39. Like cool, we're gonna watch the season, but like our minds are going to be on 50.
Well, I mean, it's been on 50 for over a year now, but I digress.
Yeah, but it's going to
Um,
be more so because now it's like, oh, it's only
literally
now.
around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also like 49, I do wonder if anyone from 49 would even be on 50. Like, there's a chance because they do that, but at least with like 48, I'm like, there's a chance, like, it's more likely for someone from 48 or below to be on than
Yeah.
someone just going out there at 49.
Well, because usually they like to reserve that spot. I'm not going to count Game Changers as much because they brought two people,
Yeah.
even though, yeah, it makes sense. But like,
Mhm.
especially for a big, let's say, milestone season,
Yeah.
they're going to want to, or, like, the person has to really blow them away in order to bring them back.
Yeah.
Russell Hantz, obviously
Mhm.
that was someone big where they were like, okay, we need to move off whomever in order to bring Russell Hantz on here because we cannot let this man go. No, we need him again.
Mhm.
Um, Malcolm, like Malcolm, super beloved, was the fallen angel and stuff like that. It's like, okay, he meets the criteria for fans for his favorite six. Philippines was also very well regarded seasons. We should probably bring Malcolm back.
Yeah.
They try and do that with, if they're taking up a spot for like an all-star season or an all-star team,
Mhm.
they have to be someone that the producers really, really enjoy. And then also
Yeah.
they have to, because if they're filming back to back, like odd to even,
Yeah.
that they know that the audience is really going to enjoy.
Yeah, and also, they do care a little bit about fan reception. Like the
A little bit.
how fans perceive someone or how the players are interacting after the season, like raps and everything, all can
Yeah,
really matter. And it's a bigger risk when you do someone who it's like the 49 is in the same filming cycle as 50, so there will be no chance to really like see what happens after the 49 wraps.
exactly. Like it was a huge risk for them to bring. Say what you want about like Game Changers. It was a big risk bringing both Michaela and Zeke back. Zeke, I totally understand. Michaela, while she was like right before the merge and was very entertaining, it's
Mhm.
like I would say it's like, well, at this point, you don't even know how she's going to be edited in it, and it's like, is she going to be like an out of left field pick? Which she wasn't. No, she
Yeah.
was awesome. And then she came back, did even better, which was cool. But yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna see already talking about 50. It's still gonna keep happening. Every episode is us getting excited about 50. I wish there was more voting stuff for 50. This voting stuff has honestly kind of been shite so far.
yeah. Like the thing is, it's like I knew it was going to be like, oh, we're going to decide everything.
Yeah.
I think it was, stuff they were okay with with fans and specifically like casual fans because there's like people like
Yeah.
us who are diehards that like, you know, have seen these seasons, dissect them, stuff like that. But like also for the casual audience gets to vote too.
Yeah.
So like that they're okay with being like, okay, this. Obviously they're not going to have a say in every challenge or every twist, especially when the players will be fully we'll know full well what these twists would be if that
Yeah.
is the case.
Yeah. The casual fans I watch, they think it's stupid. They're not even voting anymore because they find it not relevant.
I can I can see that. I mean, like the last round was like, oh, the idol, or like, what is it? Do you want twist? Do you want them to have their camp supplies? And it's like these are things where I'm like, I think most people are going to say, "Oh, we want twists."
Yeah,
Camp supplies, it was like just give it to them. And for the
yeah,
idol or like for the necklace, it's like both are good, but I feel like you have to go with the full on Phoenix if you're
yeah.
going to do one of the two.
That there's only one option like that. There, like
Yeah.
option A was just like a worse version of option B. Like,
Yeah, it was
why
like
would?
option A is cool, but like why would you use that when you can have a full on
Yeah,
Phoenix?
like okay, I guess they really wanted a Phoenix for the idol, but like they should. If you're going to do hands in the the hands of the fans, have three or four different full on
The
mythical
the
beasts or
illusion of
whatever.
choice. The
Yeah,
illusion of choice, Joe.
I know, and that's what's I think is stupid. It's so far terrible theme. This is a bad theme Survivor. I had faith that this was going to be good, but you're blowing it right now. Like so many of these just feel like they know what the choice is going to be, and they're just making it seem like, oh, the fans are deciding, when really it's just they're giving us one option that's clearly going to be the one.
Illusion of choice.
Yeah, that's bad. We should not let
Yeah,
Survivor do that.
no, I 100% agree
Yeah,
with you there. Because it is a little bit disappointing. It was like, oh, okay, we are gonna vote on some stuff. I'd say like the thing that I was like most excited to vote for were, the buff colors.
yeah,
Everything else, I'm like, well, this seems obvious that I'd want this. This is like maybe
yeah,
the other one is like, all right, what do you want them to do? Do you want there to be a bunch of like, do you want like game-changing advantages? Like mid-level advantages, no advantage. It's like well, it's going to be either mid-level or like can like really flip the game. So maybe that one was like, okay, I can see that being a bit of a variant, but everything else seems pretty straightforward.
yeah. Even the buff color, like I've watched so many videos, and I swear everyone said option B.
Yeah, the
Like
one with the teal.
even that one, everyone was choosing the same colors or the same
Yeah,
option. So it's like, and I feel like the that option had thoughts in it, and the other two didn't. And it just
yeah,
feels like that's what most of this is this is the thing that we actually want, and then just have dash put stuff in the other options.
yeah.
So
And like
not a
people are gonna
fan,
pick up on
not
it.
a fan of in the hands of the fans.
It almost rhymes. I'll give you points for that.
Okay. Well, what else is there to talk about? I mean, this was just the fall of David. What else is there to get into? Or are we?
Star swimming.
Oh yeah, Star can't swim. That was Star's content this episode.
She's learning how there no, she had another thing where there was a moment where she walks up to Mary and David. Like she's
Yeah,
walking up
and she had no
you know,
idea what was going on. It was like a
she
random scene.
I forget I even forget who she was like suggesting. Like maybe it was Shaheen where I was like, so I think we should vote for Shaheen. And then they were like, no, we're actually gonna go Mitch. And then she's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I would not be surprised if Star is in the final three as the zero vote finalist. It's definitely possible.
So
Like
she needs more content. I would just still want her to have more. It's like, come on, just do
yeah,
it.
yeah. But yeah, not really. No pulse on this game. No idea what is happening in this game. Just like and she'll still throw out names, and then people will be like, "That's not happening," and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah, what can you do? But
Yeah,
no, I
but
do like the whole thing. I am curious because I know some people have mentioned it's like, why would you go on Survivor, not know how to swim? Well, it's like, listen, and I think you and I have experienced this playing orgs, where it's like, well, why are you bad at challenges when you can practice at home? It's like, because we're doing other stuff when we're at home. Even if we know we are going to be in these things, it's like we have lives. They have
I
lives before they go out to
I
Survivor.
I think it's very different. I think if you're going on to a game show where you're going to have a chance to win $1 million, and swimming is something that you are absolutely 100% going to be doing on Survivor, especially pre-merge, or you might get voted out pre-merge because you can't swim. You definitely need to practice when you're in the casting process. Once you get that first phone call that you are in the running, you should absolutely have a baseline of swimming.
I understand. And yeah, I get that. And yes, she should. But I'm also like, I can see an argument why some people don't.
I don't think I get that.
I didn't say it's a good argument. I'm just like, now that we've played some of these games, it's like, oh, well, why aren't you better at sliding puzzles? It's like, 'cause I don't just train up for these. I have a
Yeah.
life, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Well,
to.
yet again, not every org is going to have you do a sliding puzzle. Not every org is going to do this one specific challenge. Like,
All of them will have, but Survivor, there's always going to be some aspect of swimming.
yeah, and you're going to probably at least be in if you make it from beginning to end, at least 5 to 6 challenges will be swimming based, or at least like you'll be in the water at some points.
Yeah, especially like because like Star was on a team where obviously they had the strongest composition out of the bunch,
Mhm.
and I remember her sitting out of the one challenge where it was
Mhm.
like like it had the different stages where I think it was the second episode where they even had the thing where they could balance the like buoy across when it's like from two sides, stuff like
Yeah,
that. And it's like, yeah, if you can't swim, you can't do that one. So thankfully she was on a strong enough team where she didn't have to be one of the people, because if you don't know how to swim and you're doing that one, it's like I don't how do you even do the challenge?
yeah. Yeah. And then like also Star was just like, oh, and the next time you see me out on the island, Jeff, you'll know I can swim. And first off, I don't think you're making it Dawn Destroyer 50 or a future season star. Just based off of this edit, if they liked you, you'd be on more.
Off of this edit, yeah, I'm like, Star, you're entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
I want to see more of you. I don't think Survivor is giving you the love that you deserve if you were coming back for a future season.
Yeah. And then second, I feel like even if you did get the call star, I feel like there's a good chance that you'll end up on the island and be like, dang, I should have learned how to swim better. And be exactly
No,
in the
no, no, no.
because that's what the excuse everyone makes, and when it's happening and you missed out your chance, you say I'll do it better next time, and then the time comes and it'll be like, you know what, I made it far without swimming, so I'm not going to have to worry about it. And then you got there, and then yeah, you're like, dang, I should have practiced how to swim because she doesn't need it this time because she just happened to be on the team that was winning, and so she didn't have to get voted out because of it.
I think it would be funny. They bring out Mo for 40 from 46, and she had this whole thing about not being able to jump. And then, like, she comes back and now like she's an Olympian. She holds the record for jumping everything. It's like, now I know how.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's still just a little
no. Trying to think if there's anything else.
um
No, yeah.
yeah, pretty much that's it. So yeah, I guess let's get into confessionals.
All right. Someone really had a lot of love by the editors this episode. Like by a lot. She like broke her record by a lot. I was watching this.
Oh
Or I
yeah.
looked at it last night.
Yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about, but there is someone who is now almost at the oh, fuck, I did not check to see what the new say thing is. It's
The
the
say
say
the say scale,
scale. Was that? I don't know. But nothing beats the Banu bar. The Banu bar is just way better.
it just rolls off the tongue, and
Yeah,
because he went out super early, it
it's
just
even
makes the
more.
most sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyle is now one confessional away from matching Say in this edit. So yeah, he's at 52 confessionals.
Yeah.
Um and David, who went out by the way, he would have been tied for second with 36 confessionals. And the new person in second is Shaheen. So good on
Really,
Shaheen.
I would have thought Eva was at second.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, Eva because of the 16 confessionals. Yeah, she's at 46 now.
Yeah, which is
Yes.
so granted, she had a big episode because like one, she was able to sneak away for the advantage and then like had a bunch of stuff for that. All the interactions with the strong group, with Joe, before and after the before the challenge. So like yeah, she there was a lot of reasons why we were checking in with Eva for this one.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Most confessionals episode was 16, so yeah, definitely huge. So yeah, and then third is Shaheen, and then in fourth there's a tie between Joe and Mitch with 33 confessionals.
Just barely past the Banu bar.
Yep, just barely. And then we go to Camilla at 32 confessionals, so just one less.
Okay.
Um, and then we go all the way down to 24 confessionals with Mary.
Got zero this one, which I'm
Yeah,
like, I didn't even realize that until after the fact, and I'm like, ooh, they given
yeah,
you, they did it twice to her, and I'm like,
yeah. She
that's not
is
good.
her drop off is as bad as Sue's from last season, where Sue was super prominent pre-merge and then just like got nothing and became like irrelevant. Mary's having that trajectory right now where she was very prominent early on, and these last three episodes she may as well just been like a prop. Like she's being referred to by David and David's thing, and that's the only thing that we really get from Mary.
It's tough because she's part of that duo too, of making these decisions. It's like
Yeah,
you can't spare one or two
yeah,
to be like, this is what Mary is thinking about the
yeah,
game, even if
yeah,
it's
and
very, very similar to David's, like it's her point of view on
yeah,
things.
yeah. No, we were getting David saying this is what Mary wants, and,
Yeah.
and nothing from Mary saying this is what I want. So not good there. And then coming in the rear is Star with 18 confessionals.
Yeah. Justice for Star.
Yeah,
And not even just over halfway from the Barnu bar.
yeah, definitely. Star will not be hitting the bonding bar this episode, this season. I don't think it's happening. uh,
It's extremely hard because she has two full episodes left, or no, not two, three full episodes left,
mhm,
and then finale. So
yeah,
like, and just like her track record is not giving. She's averaging 18, so like two per episode. It's like
yeah,
there's not. It's just not looking good.
yeah. She's never had more than three confessionals in one episode, um, which is not
I may
great.
not be a math man, but like four episodes left plus no times two. Yeah.
Yeah, good job. You want a gold star?
Yes, actually, yes. I would like one. Mrs.
uh,
Diasso didn't give me one in second grade.
well, too bad. I'm not giving you one either.
You're mean. How dare you, Joe?
Okay.
You can't
Well,
even get into our Facebook and just be like, "Hey, here's a gold star meme or something." You can't
nope,
even do that for me.
nope. I am ready for 49, so I'm just gonna just go through the motions until then.
You cursed chaos gremlin.
uh, okay, let's move on now to MVP and LVP.
MVP, I feel like this is probably the most straightforward for both, honestly. MVP has to go to Joe.
Yep.
He's just so well positioned in this game, and the fact that like he survived that challenge and he messed up quite a bit, or like he gave in just like a little bit and survived by a hair, pushing the boundaries of what where that ball should actually drop. He was able to get his way, and like, yeah, he's just not going to get targeted.
Yeah, I could make the argument that this should go to like a Kyle. because I do think Kyle did like really get the ball rolling, and
He did.
I would argue that David was still good for Joe's game. Like I don't think David's hurting Joe specifically in this game. Whereas I do think Kyle and Camilla, they're the ones that will be ready to separate Joe and Eva. They are the ones clearly the most likely to like try to do something against that group. And Joe has sided with those people instead of the people who I think are more likely to want to go deeper into this game with.
I think Kyle is definitely worth putting up there as well. I would even say Eva too, because like, obviously she got another advantage. She told people in that moment and like really solidified things where yes, that could have gone very south if she didn't with the whole Shaheen thing.
Hmm.
So, like I feel like they did. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because he won immunity too and had that very impressive like come from behind victory.
Mhm.
But like, those things also add it for me as well. So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll give it to Kyle gladly. I think last week I even gave him the LVP because I was like,
You did.
oh, there's a chance that that really could have backfired, and it was there. David was trying to really hammer it home. It's just David was not. He does not know how to actually go about doing that. Um,
Yeah.
and that was his demise, as we saw in this episode. So, good job, Kyle, because this definitely gave Kyle, he's now in the better position than like I really think he's actually in a better position than Joe. Like in theory, like he's kind of
In theory.
I still think this is going to be a Joe steamroll. But this did give the opening for Kyle and Camilla to do something against them.
Yes. All right. An LVP,
David,
I just have to give it to David. It's
yeah,
like he literally dropped the ball. He figuratively dropped the ball.
yeah,
Um, because like I feel like he had outs. Like if he
mhm,
handled situations better, he could have stayed.
yeah,
But I feel like there was like a path forward. There was like damage control he could have done with Kyle. It's just those routes were not taken.
yeah. Obviously, it sucks to give like the person who goes home LVP because it seems like the boring option. But I like to, if I'm giving that person the LVP, it means that if they had just said nothing and did absolutely nothing in that episode, they would still be in the game. Then I got to give that person the LVP because by them playing the game, they went out.
Yeah, because I can see the strong group still keeping strong and to that. It was just like
Mhm.
David's, it's just like how David, as far back as like handled the whole thing about Kyle defending Camilla thing, how he
Yeah.
handled it in that moment. It's a totally different thing to like bring someone aside and be like, yo, I think that I'm not quite sure how I feel about Kyle defending Camilla so much, but say that I like very
Mhm.
outspoken and also being like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
bringing this person in. It's just like, and then this episode just acting very, very paranoid and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. It's the
and,
problem when you
and
think that
the Joe
you're,
thing,
yeah,
and the Joe thing with like you went back on your word when he didn't.
yeah. Well, and we saw, what happens when you think that you have a really tight group that you're able to talk openly and freely. And all it takes is one person to not like your plan, and suddenly, it blows up in your face. Um,
Yeah.
I've seen this in Oregon so many times, where you like, oh, these are my people, I'm gonna like actually try to talk, and like we can all strategize and figure it out together. And one person is not has your best interest in heart, and then goes off and tells everyone. So yeah, I think it's just
Mhm.
that case of David. Like if you're gonna play smaller numbers, talking to people in smaller numbers is always better.
Yeah, agree. Because it's less likely that anyone feels like they're on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like you're actually strategizing and talking instead of just like, here's the name that I want. Okay, guys.
Yeah. I agree. All
Okay.
right. Well, that is it for now. Hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I'm excited to see what comes next because now the non-strong group is like, oh, they're vulnerable, which I don't know if they actually have the numbers because they have Camilla or like because like Kyle, Camilla, and Shaheen are like this. So it's like we'll see what comes of it.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. So yeah, that does it for this episode, and we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.